Esteban Ocon goes behind Daniel Ricciardo. Not a great lap there from Esteban Ocon. He is very much at risk. Kevin Magnussen jumps out of that bottom 5, and Ocon looking nervously over his shoulder at the likes now of Lando Norris and Zhou Guanyu.
Yeah, Norris very much nervously looking ahead though. He needs to get this lap finished, and does, up into P8.
And that pushes Esteban Ocon down into the bottom 5 and out of qualifying. So Norris goes 8th fastest, Bottas 11th fastest, Daniel Ricciardo's on the cusp. What can Zhou Guanyu do about that? He can put his car 10th fastest and knock Daniel Ricciardo out of qualifying. That's what he can do. Alex Albon moves out of the bottom 5 only by 17 thousandths of a second, but that is enough to give him some daylight for the time being. Nicholas Latifi in his last US Grand Prix. He's going to leave Williams at the end of the season. Would dearly love another progression from Q1 this season. Crosses the line now, and he doesn't sadly make it for him, which is a relief to his teammate Alex Albon.
As we watch Mick Schumacher presumably locking an axle and the rear axle, and then pirouetting, checking out where he's just been, and off he goes again. Lap ruined.
So that then is the first part of qualifying over. Mick Schumacher out, along with Nicholas Latifi, Esteban Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen. Checkered flag is out, so these laps are going to have to count. Pierre Gasly, the driver, at risk. 10th fastest and only 10th fastest, right on the cusp. I don't think that's going to be enough for Pierre Gasly. Sebastian Vettel flirting with the track limits once again, goes 9th fastest in his Aston Martin. Behind him is teammate Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll never reached Q3 here in Austin, goes 7th fastest to try and end that particular duck. Lando Norris goes into the top 10. So Sebastian Vettel out of it, Gasly out of it, Alex Albon now right on the cusp with Bottas and Zhou Guanyu behind him and in the bottom 5 currently. So Albon and Norris looking a little bit unsteady potentially. Valtteri Bottas goes 9th fastest, pushes Alex Albon into that bottom 5, and Lando Norris waiting now to see what Zhou Guanyu can manage. Albon has carried on actually for another lap, but he's not putting in the times in the first few sectors. Alonso 7th fastest, still Lando Norris right on the cusp of things. This will decide it. Zhou Guanyu goes into the top 10 on his first visit to the circuit of the Americas. Lando Norris is out of qualifying. Zhou Guanyu has had a lap time deleted. Oh no. And that's pushed him out, and well, that's saved Lando Norris.
Yeah.
That's not the first time this season I think Lando Norris has been saved by someone else having a lap time deleted. Gasly, he's out, I'm afraid, as is Zhou Guanyu, as is Yuki Tsunoda, Sebastian Vettel and Alex Albon. Leclerc and Verstappen separated by only 5/100ths of a second. 1:36.1 for Alonso in the Alpine. But Max Verstappen has found more time in the middle sector. Is this provisional pole for Max Verstappen? Yes, it is. We're not quite to the 1:34s yet, but Verstappen, who was on pole this time last year here, has put his car on provisional pole, but for only the time being, because Charles Leclerc is setting this track alight and has about 3/10ths advantage over Verstappen through the first 2 parts of the lap.
Yeah, once again, then Leclerc and Ferrari showing tremendous speed together. As you say, he's got a penalty to take yet, but there'll still be a lot of pride in being fastest. They'll not be messing around here with too many slipstreams because of the nature of the track layout.
4th on the grid, last 2 races here, Charles Leclerc. He won't be 4th this year, but he would like to win qualifying, and he is 4/10ths of a second faster than Max Verstappen. That is a very impressive lap, as Sergio Perez puts his Red Bull potentially onto the front row with that Leclerc penalty to come.
Keep an eye on Hamilton, he's out there flying along as well. Meanwhile, Sainz goes 2nd. Hamilton fastest through the middle sector.
So that's Sainz now on provisional pole, and Hamilton goes 3rd fastest ahead of Max Verstappen. The one who's had a bad first sector, Lewis Hamilton, 25.8 for him, 3/10ths off Leclerc and Sainz and Verstappen, who's set the fastest middle sector so far, and that's about 3/10ths of a second faster than this man, Charles Leclerc, wobbly as he comes out of the final turn. It's a 1:34.4. That is the fastest time so far. Carlos Sainz goes on to pole position by 6/100ths of a second. In the year that he took his first pole in Formula One, he's got provisional pole now. now if he can fend it off the likes of Max Verstappen. Russell goes 5th fastest, Verstappen goes 3rd fastest. It's no pole for a 2nd year running here at COTA for Max Verstappen, and it's Ferrari that are going to get that pole as Lewis Hamilton crosses the line, only 5th fastest. Well, they had one chance to grab pole today because of Charles Leclerc's penalty, and grab it they have. Carlos Sainz, for the 2nd time in Formula One, is on pole.
P1, baby. Good job.
I knew it was coming, guys. I knew it.
With Max Verstappen not getting pole today, it means Charles Leclerc will end the season with the most poles of any driver. Carlos Sainz, a very impressive drive here this evening, here at Austin.